we have a bunch of us missing, but that's okay. You guys will get some power pellets today to empower you guys to make sure that you're where you're supposed to be. The title of the message is, Will It Be Too Late? You see this problem? I don't know if you see my PowerPoint. My key button is broken. I had the same problem with council meeting. So the Proverbs, it should be reading Proverbs 27:17, I believe. Let me just pull them up real quick. I'm so used to using the key. I believe it's 17. 27. So my key, or because I take it all over with me and I just shove them in my bag, I don't do it properly. My numeral keypad is all messed up. Let's just make sure, because I want to make sure. But I know we're in chapter 27. Okay, so it's 27:1. Sorry about that. I thought I missed the 7. When it says this, don't brag about tomorrow, since you don't know what the day will bring. Now, I want you to just think about that as I share this story to help illustrate or to set the stage for what we're going to talk about tonight. The story goes like this. Stories told about a dad and a son who were estranged from one another. Before they ever reconciled, the father had died. At the funeral, this grown son was heard crying, and his words that was heard, the words that was heard was, "It's too late, it's too late." And my heart for tonight's message is really to speak to the believer. You know, we talked about how the devil loves to quench the fire of the Lord. When the devil comes, there's a lot of chaos that he causes. And a lot of times we need to reconcile before things get really bad. Because you know how like, oh, give it time. But giving it time is just an excuse not to deal with something you should be dealing with. And what happens soon enough is that it gets worse than it does better. Right? And so today, as I was working on the message this week, I found myself I'm actually looking forward to summer break. I'm hoping they don't call me. I know I can pray about work, but I'm hoping they don't call me. But I don't want to go work. I just want some time to just relax and be focused. And when I was working on this message, it was really, the Lord really put it strongly on my heart that this message needs to be for the believer. We need to hear what God has for us, because we get so caught up in the world's life living that we put off a lot of things that we should be doing for the Lord. And so tonight I'm really going to focus on the believer. And some of you may be offended, some of you might, like, wow, whatever. Well, you know what, suck it up. The Lord is saying it's time to wake up. So I want to talk about 3 gems, or 3 important things that can protect us from falling into this place of one day saying it's too late. Now, the first gem tonight is, one day it'll be too late to be saved from your sin. Okay, the Bible teaches us about rapture, the rapture. How many of you guys read about the rapture? Alright, and I don't know about you guys, but I get excited about that stuff. Yeah, because that's the day when the Lord is going to come and He's going to lift up His people into his presence, and going to be with the Lord. Well, some people get really afraid when you start talking about the rapture, because the other side of the rapture is the what? Left behind. Right? Those guys get all nuts, the ones that's not sure about their salvation. Or, so what about us guys kind of thing. Well, like I said, I'm going to focus on the believer because I want the believer to walk away empowered. The Bible tells us, according to what Jesus had spoken, he says this, right? He says, he would come as a thief in the night, and that no one would know the day or hour when the Lord comes again. All believers will be taken up to heaven to be with the Lord in the air. And, like I said, for us believers, it's exciting. I look forward to that rapture, right? And it's a glorious time of God's authority and power. And it's also, like I said, a scary time for those who have rejected Jesus Christ throughout this time. Now, when the rapture happens, just in case you guys don't know, it's too late to change your mind and say, I want to know you, Jesus. Too late, right? So God has given us the opportunity today, at this moment, to give our lives, to live our lives for Him in a way that we bring honor to Him, as well as bring the news, the good news of Jesus Christ to the world we live in. This is our time, right? The Bible says, for such a time as this. You've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. We could have been born in any other time, zone or era, I should say, but God chose us to be born at this time, at this moment. So upon us, we hold this real huge responsibility to share Jesus. Not only to share Jesus, but to live our life in a way that we are revealing to the world that we worship Jesus. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have to be people that say, okay, I want to change now. Right? I want to do what I'm supposed to do now. So if you are here and hearing this message, I want you to think about it, because I think if we really, really honestly evaluate our hearts, some of us might get a little spooked with those words, it's too late, because it's a little bit too familiar to us, knowing that we have these bad habits of doing different things. We'll talk about those things in a little bit. But I want you to know that right now is the time for us to ensure that our salvation in Jesus Christ is a done deal. If you haven't received Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, then you ought to do it tonight. Okay? If you're kind of questioning if you receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, well, you better answer that question tonight. I say that because tomorrow is not promised to us. I was praying about this time of the year for us. All over the world, people are graduating. And, in the midst of all this excitement, there's all kinds of parties and celebrating and all those things that's going on. And, if not careful, we find people losing their lives or getting into bad accidents. And last night I went bowling, and I decided, okay, I do a McDonald's stop almost every time after I power bowling. I need to get like a sign in and something. We sit down there and just kind of talking. So it's either with me and it's always me and the boys. And I had this kid, two young kids in the car. They look, I don't want to say intoxicated, but they look loaded, like they was on something. And this one kid had his shirt off, jumping in and out of the car, punching the car, laughing and swearing, and I was getting all angry on the inside, and I had to really change. But I'm waiting till they stare at me around, kind of like, oh, you're so stupid. Lord, protect them, pray for them, right? Because it's graduation, right? Because couple they had graduated also, and I think maybe Campbell, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and so everybody's getting a little bit excited, all the emotions going on. And This kid was running in and out of the car, punching the car, yelling, swearing. Maybe standing at the window of the drive-thru out of the car. I went to the bathroom, and relieved himself on the side, came over here, standing over there getting his Waianae, and I started to think about the message and stuff, and I realized that, if not careful, this might be that boy's last night, or somebody else's last night, because of that situation. And it really hit hard to think that, around the world, we're going to hear news, the news soon, and throughout all this celebration, we're going to hear something like this. It's every year, it doesn't change. And it just made me think about the importance of us understanding that we have today to live, today to make corrections as believers, to live a way that we honor God with our lives. And so if there's something we need to take care of, we got to make sure sin is taken care of tonight, right? Don't wait till later, because you might not wake up tomorrow, and at that time, it'll be too late. Okay? So, since tomorrow is a promise to us, now is the time to accept Jesus, or to reassure yourself that you have indeed asked Jesus into your life. This is the moment for you. Okay? Second gem that we can find in Scripture is someday it'll be too late for service by the saints. I was working on this and I was really excited. I was telling you how usually when I'm working on a message, I'm stressed out. It's been a rough week, long hours, but I was very excited. I was at bowling and I was trying to finish this before I go bowling. Bowling was starting, but I'm like, I gotta try to finish this. I didn't get to finish it till later on this morning, but I love it when I'm so excited and I can't put it down. Service by the saints. Let's read 2 Corinthians 5:10. We must all stand before Christ to be judged. We will each receive whatever we deserve for the good or evil we have done in this earthly bodies. Now, to put this into context, what we see is happening is that we all will stand before the Lord. And in the presence of the Lord, we will be judged for our faith in service to Him. Now, this is not speaking about judgment if we have received Jesus Christ or not. That has been taken care of. We know this by the blood of Jesus on Calvary. What we'll be standing before the Lord for is what we have done with what we have been received, or what we have received from Jesus. So, we've received Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. With this knowledge comes great responsibility. Great responsibility to share the news, as well as a great responsibility to live the news. Okay? So, I think what we need to understand is that, yes, we are saved by the grace and blood of Jesus Christ, but we will stand before the Lord to answer to Him for what we've done as believers. And there's going to be 4 types of believers that will stand before the Lord. You're going to have to decide which one you will be. Okay? And if you hear your title come up, you see that, hey, that's my identity. You're going to have to decide if it's good or bad. I'm going to help you to decide by pointing out certain the pros and cons of what we're going to read. Now, so the first type of believer that will stand before God is Mr. Procrastinator. How many of you guys know Mr. Procrastinator? Yeah? Alright. He's always saying things like this. Tomorrow I'll serve God. One day I'll be faithful. One day I'll join a ministry. One day I'll start tithing. One day I'll share Jesus to somebody. One day. But the one day never comes because you're too busy procrastinating. Well, I want you to understand that the scripture tells us we need to wake up. That for such a time as this, we were created. If you read scripture, it's really amazing that many of the prophets and the people in the Bible had an opportunity to do what God has asked them to do immediately or don't do it. And the ramifications of disobeying was huge. It wasn't just them who suffered, it was people around them who suffered. You know, one of the stories I love is, they brought it up, is Esther. How many of you guys read the book of Esther? We did a study through that, right? God is not mentioned in the book of Esther. You don't hear Jesus, you don't hear God, you don't hear nothing about that, but when you read, you see the fingerprints of God all over that book. Well, here's the crazy thing. She was a commoner that became queen. And there were some rules that the queen needed to know. She couldn't just barge in on the king. And the problem she was having was she was a Jewish woman, right? And she needed to protect her people. But in order for her to protect her people, she had to take the chance of possibly dying. And she had to make a decision trusting God to protect her and guide her, and that for such a time as this, she has been chosen to save her nation. Now, she didn't understand it all that way, but she said, if I have an opportunity to change the history of my people, to save them, then I'm going to take it. But you got to understand, this lady must have been bad, right? You know, think about Mr. Procrastinator. Should I? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't. Right? All day long. Should I go out there and pull the weeds? Nope, not today. I do it tomorrow. Right? Well, tomorrow, now the weeds is as tall as you. Right? Now you're going to have to work triple as hard as you would have worked if you just would have maintained it. Long story short, the women are reading this book. You guys can find the book. I'll read the story about Esther in a way that it's written about the different struggles and trials and all the different pros and cons, that's going on. But when you read the Bible, you find that she finally makes a decision to march into the king's room and lay her life down in order that her people might have an opportunity to be changed. Well, the nation still survives. You guys know the end of the story, right? So all the Jews wasn't killed because of her not wanting to procrastinate but answer the word of the heart of God. Israel was saved. So I think if this is you, you're a procrastinator. And now I'm not talking about procrastinating, cleaning the yard, procrastinating the project. I'm talking as a believer. Are you procrastinating? Are you saying that I'll seek God out tomorrow? I'll have a better relationship with Jesus tomorrow. I'll start the next day. Yeah, I'll start reading the next day. This is a believer now. Right? And I know I don't have to express any more of what I'm trying to say because I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I'll catch that tomorrow, Lord. Tomorrow, and it never comes. Well, that day when it's gone, it's too late to tell the Lord I was going to take care of it. But say to the Lord, it's done. You will stand before the Lord and you will be held accountable for your decision to procrastinate. Yeah, makes sense? So if there's something as a believer you're not doing, this is your chance to make the correction. If you don't, it's not Hope Chapel's fault. It's not Word of Life's fault. It's not the Church of God's fault. It's your fault. Shame on you. Alright? Okay. The second type of believer that will stand before God is Mrs. Excuse Maker. Okay, this believer always says, I would have been faithful if my husband was nice. Or I would have been faithful if my wife wasn't so mean. Or I would have been attending church if it wasn't for work. I would have been tithing if my finances were better. Right? You guys know the Mrs. Excuse Maker, right? How many of you guys know Mrs. Excuse Maker very well? Right? Yeah, I know her. Yeah, we're buddies. You know? Well, if you are under this category, then you need to stop it. Stop making excuses. Now I'm going to offend you. If you're not tithing, why are you not tithing? Oh, because I don't have a lot. Well, you know, I think you can tithe with what you have. Start there. Right? You know, a lot of times people say, I won't come to church until I'm perfect. Guess what? It will never happen. You got to come to church all bust up, all mess up, all hammer-jams. And as you come, the Lord fixes it up slowly. Well, you know, we don't start tithing. I don't care if it's just a little bit, right? And we don't start to understand this heart of giving and surrendering to God. Because I'm sure a lot of us can admit we have no problem surrendering our money to the man or poor man. Or for that Slurpee. Right? You know, all these different things, we have no problems dropping that. But to the kingdom of God. Well, you know, why we do that? Because we feel this way. Our flesh. Well, at least they're getting something from it. Right? At least if I can give McDonald's my money, I'm getting one cheeseburger. Right? If I get to the church, I don't get anything. It's just going to the church. What do they do with the money? Well, we pay rent. We pay insurance, right? We pay all kinds of different things. And that's not the point. The point is we give because God has blessed us. And so we want to say, Lord, since you've given me, I want to give back to you. And so it's not about the amount, it's about your heart when you're giving. You know, and as you learn to have this heart of God, you can just start giving God. You don't want to bless somebody in trouble with God, I want to give them something. Right? The first time the Lord put that on me, I almost flipped. I had a battle inside of me saying, are you crazy? You know, I remember one moment, I've got this many times, but one that stands out to me was I really wanted to go to the flea market and buy these plants that I knew was there waiting for me. God put those plants there for me. And then the Lord says, give the money. The church preaching, and the Lord says, you know, I feel like I'm preaching, I'm having a battle now while I'm preaching, because he says, you know, look at that person, I think that's the one. No, that's not the one. Right? I mean, you guys don't know how hard it is to preach and complain with God at the same time. You know, and at the end of the night, I mean, you know, I shared with Steph, and he was talking, he was praying, and I'm battling through message, and finally I have to give, right? Sad stories, and I went back, the plant was gone. I guess God never let me have that plant, you know. But I was blessed because when I listened, it worked out perfect for that family, for that person. Awesome. You know, and so, you know, if you hear the Lord telling you to do something like that, just do it. And when you do it, don't try to understand it. Don't try to make sense of it, because once it releases your hand, it's none of your business anymore. Right? A lot of times when we give something, we go, well, you show me what you're doing with that right now. I want to make sure I did a good investment. It's not your investment into that person. It's God's investment into that person, and God is using you. So God has invested in you so that you can continue to invest into His business. Does that make sense? But we got to stop making excuses, right? Throughout the Bible, you know, I'm reading and I'm working on this stuff, and I'm thinking of all the different people throughout the Bible, and I realized something that's really crazy. A whole bunch of them were martyred, persecuted, disowned, right? They were tormented, all because they love Jesus. And the more I started to focus on that, and realize that they didn't have an excuse when it came to serving the Lord, then we today, as modern day Christians, we have no reason to make any excuses. Nobody persecuting us, right? We're not going to walk out and somebody shoot us because we believe in Jesus, right? We don't have people disowning us. Maybe they don't talk to us because they make them feel uncomfortable, but they're not shunning us, right? And I want us to hear this because it's so important that these people back in those days was willing to lay it all down. They didn't make an excuse. Their life wasn't an excuse to not do what they needed to do in order that the Lord would be glorified. And if you start reading scripture, you find out that in the New Testament, the church explodes. Right? All these little home churches going on, people being saved by the thousands and hundreds, all because people didn't have an excuse about loving Jesus and doing what it takes to serve Him. So, I want us to realize that we don't have any excuses to not give God all of us. If you have an excuse, I want you to do this. I want you to take it to your mini church. And I want your mini church to validate your excuse. Now, if your mini church listens to you and can show you in the scripture that is a very good reason to not do what you should be doing for the Lord, then I'm by all means standing behind that person. But I'll tell you, I've read the Bible enough times to say to you confidently, there is no excuse we have for not serving Jesus. No excuse. The blind man can scream and worship. The lame can still worship. Right? If people being persecuted. If you guys ever read the way the disciples was martyred, you would trip out. You would trip out. And say, wow. And still, they were faithful. You have no excuse. If you're struggling with an excuse or you're struggling with something from you giving all of yourself to the Lord, I want you to find somebody who can talk to. Don't find somebody who agrees with you, right? Because you're sabotaging yourself. Find somebody who will tell you like it is. Right? You suck. I don't care if they're playing around when they say it. You hear it. Yeah, funny. Yeah, you suck. Oh, funny. Oh, that's not funny. You suck. Right? Find people that will tell you the truth about you, whether it hurts you or not. But now, when we do this, we need to understand that when the truth is said, and we know what God is saying, we need to step back. So much time we start poking on. We know that stuff you're struggling with, because you need help. And then we start going off and you remember how many times you need help, and you still like, come on. She will say, well, I don't want to talk to you, right? But they would say, Mom, this is, you shared that, and I just think this is and what God is saying. And she might get mad at me. She should get mad at me, right? But she told me I would get mad. And then I gotta just let it go. Let her get mad at me. Let her get mad at God. She can go fight God all by herself. She can fight me. I'm not there anyway, And what happens? You know why we get angry? Because it's true and it hurts. It's a time when we're vulnerable. You see, you surround any animal in a corner and give them no way to turn and run, you know what they will do? They will rush you. and hurt you to be set free. I'm not saying this that we're going to tell everybody, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm telling you this. Because there is an excuse that's keeping us from serving the Lord. We need to have somebody to share with us the truth about what we're struggling with and then help us to grow and heal so that we can get back into service. It is so vital. Because if we fail to nurture that spirit, just in case you guys didn't hear it before, the Bible says, find a dark, dark, dark spot out in the ocean. Tie a rope around your neck, tie the other end around the boulder, throw it over. That means bye-bye, right? The Lord is so, what's that word I'm looking for? So interested in each one of us. And He's very serious about us encouraging and mentoring each other to grow. And anytime we destroy one spirit, right, we got to answer to God for that. Now understand, when we confess, like I said, or when we confront people's excuses, they will get mad. You just got to step back. Let them fight themselves. Because if not, you're not going to happen, right? We're going to fight. Because you've been telling me I'm ugly, I tell you ugly too. And next thing you know, we're getting on this big fight. Now we're all ugly. You know, we got to be careful. But we got to stop making excuses, please. If you're struggling with something, don't hold it in. Tell somebody, get counsel, get the right wording from God and the right lesson that God has on how to deal with that. Because we are so precious to Jesus. And the devil hates each of us because God loves us that much that He sent Jesus to the cross. His goal was never to let us step into heaven's presence. And He is so wise to use us to fight each other to sabotage our faith. But see, if we're reading our word, we're listening to the Spirit of the Lord, we're going to know when we should. And we're going to know when we're going to speak and how to speak. And sometimes, this is the part I hate, the Lord will say, just let it go. I'm like, oh, no. We have a bone to pick down. The Lord says, no, you throw that bone away. Right? And I hate that. Right? Especially when you're right. And the Lord says, it's not about you being right. It's about me being glorified. You see the word servant means that we humble ourselves to the will of God. It's very important. Now, we stop making excuses and do right by God. So if you have excuses going on, it's time to stop. You're not the only person tired in the world. You're not the only person working. You're not the only person dealing with what you're dealing with. Everybody has something they have to deal with in order to get life, to live life, and continue to live, right? And yet still keep the Lord at the number one position. That's not easy. It's difficult. It takes obedience. It takes practice, right? You don't just wake up with, don't put God first and do everything. Why? Because we need to relearn what we've learned. That started from when we was a baby, right? And that is, and get our way, right? As a child, as a baby, you already learned manipulation, right? Oh, why is she crying? Because they want me to carry her. So what we do? Carry. Oh, my pants so put it on. Carry. Who most smart? The baby. Right? So we come up with this mentality that we should get what we like. But not everything we like is good for us. So the Bible says we got to learn how to discipline ourselves. We discipline our children. Right? Discipline from spending. We want different things that's important for us to live the way the Lord wants us to live. And the biggest thing is to put God first. We're too used to putting ourselves first. Oh, as long as I have, as long as this, as long as I get this, and all of a sudden, It's like if I give this away, like I was showing, I give my stuff away, I don't buy my plants that God will put there for me on that special day. And I'm going to get rid of this money, I'm going to give it away because God said I'm give it away. What if the plant's not there? Like I said, I went back and the plant wasn't there. I just have to come with the conclusion that God never let me have that plant. Because I serve a good God. If He wanted me to have it, I would have had it. I just like buy plants just because, Anything strange I buy, not too strange, but anything strange I buy. So we used to serving ourselves and putting ourselves first. We need the discipline to learn how to put God first in everything we do. That's not easy. So we need to stop making excuses of why God not number one in our life. Whatever it is, I don't care what it is. You figure it out. Because if you don't, you're going to say one day to yourself, by the way, at the time you say this, you're done. It's too late. You're going to have to stand before the Lord and explain to Him why He was filled with excuses about serving Him and His kingdom. So, the third type of believer that will stand before God is Mr. People Blamer. How many of you guys know Mr. People Blamer? Yeah? This one is so good. I would go to church if the church wasn't such hypocrites. We live in the world, and I know a lot of hypocrites in the world, but because we call this church, we expect everybody to be perfect, yet we know that it's imperfect people that's coming out from the world, coming into the house of God, and that is why I call the church God's hospital of sick people. We're just sick believers. People out there that are sick and unbelievers. We believers that's sick and we need help. We need to be taught the ways of the Lord. We need the healing power of Jesus Christ. But, we like to blame everybody for our problems. Right? Everybody for the reason why we're not excelling in our relationship with Jesus. Well, I would have been way, way further ahead in my faith if I just was supported by my family. Or if my husband or my wife would have just let me attend church or whatever. Right? We blame people. How many of you guys know, Mrs. Blame people or people blamer? Yeah. I remember when I first became a Christian, I started coming to church. I actually walked away from the church at the very beginning of my walk. I was in a church that was it was really a holy roller kind, I mean, I don't doubt that the power of God was in the house of that church. But at the same time, I didn't realize it the way I realize now. The church is filled with sick people. Okay? So I'm going to just use some examples and don't get offended, okay? If I so happen to say something that might match up with you, I'm just using this as an example. So, Fawn is Mrs. Jealous person. She's jealous about everybody. You don't even have to have anything. I'm jealous you don't have anything. Right? She's just Mrs. Jealous. But you know what? One day somebody shared Jesus with her and she walked into Hope Chapel. Now, we have Mrs. Believer jealous of everybody walking into the Church of God. And I say Mrs. Believer because somebody shared Jesus with her. She received Jesus. Now she's in Hope Chapel, Waianae. But she's still dealing with Mrs. Jealous. Well, as she continues to seek God out, the Lord is going to show her her weaknesses and her issues. And the Lord is going to work on that. Well, the Lord is working on Mrs. Jealous here. The Lord speaks to somebody out there about pride. And so we get Mr. Pride. Well, the Lord is going to get me just so happy. Mr. Pride, the artist. His pride is, you don't tell me nothing. I know what I do. I take care of my own, blah, 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 blah. Well, the Lord speaks to him. He's moved. He comes to Hope Chapel, Waianae, and he loves Jesus. But Mr. Pride is still hanging on there. he hasn't quite understand what God is doing. He knows something is happening. He don't know what it is, but he knows it's something that's way beyond his ability to understand, and someone of great authority and power is come to know there's someone as Jesus Christ. Two issues. Well, then you have, Mrs. Snobby, I believe. Snobbing and rolling her eyes at everybody and anything. Can be a dog walking down the road. Check that dog like he owned the road, right? And so, so Miss Snobby hears about Jesus and comes into the church. Well, she's a believer, but she still gets rolling eyes. She don't care if you're the pastor's wife, worship. She don't even care if you're looking at her. Right? Well, Mr. Pride catches his eyes rolling. Right? But Mr. Pride sees Mrs. Snobby rolling her eyes. And all of a sudden, so what? Have issues. Well, we never get about Mrs. Jealous. She's jealous because he's prideful and she's snobby. So Miss Jealous is getting all nuts over here. Right? But the common denominator is that we love Jesus. And the heart is, we need Jesus. We ought to love Jesus. And allow Jesus to work out these faults in us so that when we come together, we can come to agreement that we're here for Jesus. And the more we seek Jesus out, the less jealous she becomes. Because she realizes that I am created in the image of God. And I am the apple of his eye. Well, Miss Roller Eyes starts rolling her eyes upwards and saying, oh, hallelujah, I have learned to love Jesus. My eyes, if any place it should roll to heaven. And so now she's not rolling her eyes side to side, but say, rolling them up and saying, hallelujah. Because I serve a good God that loves me. Mr. Pride is saying, you know what? I have nothing to be prideful. Everything I have received, everything I have gained, everything I know has been a gift from God. He has blessed me with wisdom. He has blessed me with family and all these things. And all of a sudden, now that prideful person isn't so prideful anymore because they realize that it was all in God's plan to place such wonderful things in his life. Does that make sense? So all of us have issues over here. Not one of you not struggling with something. And the problem with this is what we're struggling with is our kuleana, our business to set right with God. But the problem is, in order for us to feel good about our insufficiencies, we like to point out other people's stuff. An excuse to not deal with ours. So, we need to stop that. Right? We need to realize that we all fall short of the glory of God. And, we can't blame, Fawn. We can't blame, Lavardis, Devale, Kehal. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I am at fault in what I did. Or maybe you did offend me. But you know what? A lot of times if we look at the offense is something that was needed to be heard, and it doesn't feel good. Does that make sense, guys? So, if you stand right now, if this is you, you're Mr. Mrs. People believer. When that time comes and you haven't resolved this, you're going to stand before God, and He's going to ask you, well, what's your problem? What happened with all these things I faced before you? And you're going to say, well, was my wife, was my husband, was this, was that. And the Lord is going to say to you, I'm not asking you about Fawn. I'm not asking you about the artist. I'm not even asking you about Devale. I'm asking you about you. How are you going to answer? You see where the fault falls back on? Right here. That's why salvation is one and one. Hope Chapel, Waianae is just a vessel, a tool where people who love Jesus can come and grow in wisdom and knowledge of the Lord. But salvation comes through Jesus Christ alone. You need to have a relationship with Jesus. here we just help each other to nurture each other to continue to seek Jesus as our Lord and Savior. Still with me? So now we got the fourth type of believer that will stand before God. This believer will hear words like this: "My good and faithful servant, the kingdom of heaven was made just for you." Now, in Matthew 25, there is a parable that tells of a landowner, a rich man that was going out on a journey. You've heard this before. And so he calls 3 of his servants and he gives them each a certain amount of money to invest according to their abilities. Well, long story short, he leaves and comes back. When he gets back, he calls the servants to one by one to have them accountable or hold them accountable for what they've done with the monies that he has placed within their hands. The first, he made an investment and he made money back for the master. The master was happy. He says, "Good, awesome," right? The second, same thing. He came and he says, "Master, I made an investment," right? Same thing, 100% he got back. You never lost anything. He gained. The master is stoked. Like, wow, good work. Well, the third servant is now standing before the master, and the master says, "So what have you done with the money?" He goes, "I have every penny you gave me right here. I was afraid that I might lose it, in the investment, so I did it. I hid it, I dug a dirt, I dig a hole in the dirt, and I buried it, and now here it is." The master was furious. His response: "You should have at least put it in the bank where it would have been gaining interest." Now, I don't know if that means anything to you, but that's kind of like screaming in my head, because you guys know what a savings account bring you in interest? Yeah? Anybody? Not much. Very, very little, right? If anything. But the master is saying, but at least just a little bit would have been increased. It speaks huge when you think about us as believers. I have placed the wisdom of Jesus Christ, the understanding of who He is and what He's done. I can touch your heart to understand the importance of receiving Him in your life. What have you done with that knowledge? How have you invested? Right? It's so crazy because a lot of times when we hear this parable, we spend time on the person that didn't invest. But I want you guys to hear this story and hear what I'm sharing with you today. 4 types of believers who stand before God. And we will be we're going to have to give an account for what we have received, this wisdom of Jesus Christ. What will be your response when you stand before the Lord? I long to hear good and faithful servant. I get all crybaby out, I gotta really control myself now, because if not, I'm gonna start, because it is like so crazy. It's like the one thing in all my life I want to wait to hear. You see, it's easy for us to procrastinate as believers to do what we're supposed to do. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to blame people. It's not easy to be disciplined in the ways of the Lord when you are so undisciplined. But here's the crazy thing, the more you discipline yourself in the Lord, the more joyful your service becomes. Now it's not a challenge anymore. You want to bless somebody, right? You hear somebody having a need, you go, what can we do? Right? They don't have food or whatever it is. Let's give them some food. We don't have much, but hey, whatever we can. Because that person don't want that much at all. And so all little bit becomes plenty on the other side. And all of a sudden you get excited about how you can do things with what God has given you to bless somebody. It doesn't matter the size. So I want us to realize that this story of the parables of the talents, I want us to realize that is speaking of, we can look at it and see it speaking to us as believers. And how are we going to answer God for what we've done? He's invested in us. And what has we done with that investment? So, my question to all of you tonight is, what are you going to do with this message? You're going to go home and evaluate and find out where you need work at and be honest about it, and start getting yourself in a place where you're not going to have to hear the heart of God, who's created us in His image, sent His Son to the cross, tell you, be gone. You see, that third servant that didn't do anything with his investment is really, really sad, because it tells the servant to be gone, that he's no longer part of this wonderful plan that he has. And I tripped out on that, because we don't think about that as believers. We get rewards. You guys understand that there's a reward for our good deeds. Not that we save by good deeds, but God is definitely going to look at our good deeds. And I always make fun about it, and but I want to have wings. I mean, God can I'll keep the curly hair, but I want to have wings. I want to fly and stuff. And I started to think about this. I says, Lord, I don't serve because I want something from you. The salvation is what I have, and that's the greatest gift. But I do want to do everything I can to let you know I am in love with you, and that I'm sold out for you. And it's crazy. The Lord says, don't worry about that. But know this, my heart is to bless you as you bless me. And then I started to think about this. Shouldn't that get us excited to just want to bless the Lord? We all seeking and waiting for a blessing. Maybe the problem is that we're not blessing the blesser. We make too much excuses. We're procrastinating. We're blaming everybody why we cannot bless the blesser. And then you're wondering why your house is blessed. If you make a decision to serve Christ, and I believe we all have here, if not, we're going to ask for that, ask you tonight if that's what you want to do. You need to get busy in serving the Lord. There shouldn't be not one idle person in the Church of God. Not one. If we are idle, then we need to take an answer or evaluation of what we just heard tonight. Because when you stand before the Lord, He's going to ask you why you were standing idle when I placed upon you great talent to invest in the world that needed to hear about me. I'm going to get ready to close, but I want to share these two stories of these two people with you. I don't know if you know it, but there's two people in the Bible that's called Saul. One is from the Old Testament, one is from the New Testament. The King Saul, the Old Testament, he, if you read Scripture, repeatedly sinned against God. And he fought against God's will. Always badly. Started off with his heart, but it just didn't stay connected. Right? And so slowly finding himself battling and fighting his God. And years went like that. And near the end of his life, he made this sad confession. Let's read it. 1 Samuel 26:11. Then Saul confessed, I have sinned. Come back home, my son, and I will no longer try to harm you, for you value my life. Today, I have been a fool and very, very wrong. This is a confession of his foolishness and his lack to love the Lord. He no longer sought counsel by God, but sought counsel within himself in the flesh. And now he's confessing that he's a fool. Don't get to the end of your life and have to say, Lord, I have sinned. The Lord knows you have sinned, right? I played a fool and I made a mistake. At that time, if we had not made right before God, it is too late to confess. Now, we have Saul from the New Testament, whose name was changed to Paul of Tarsus. Now, I want to read the words that he wrote. And I want you to understand, he wrote this shortly before he was executed. 2 Timothy 4:6-8. As for me, my life has already been poured out as an offering to God. The time of my death is near. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have remained faithful. And now the prize awaits me, the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on the day of his return. And the prize is not just for me, but for all who eagerly look forward to his appearing. When I started reading this, I fell apart. You need to really listen to that. And it is just... I want you to meditate on these two men's replies sometime during the week, preferably before the meeting church. And I want you to decide which one more accurately can characterize your life. Is it, I have sinned and made a fool? Or is it, I'm fighting a good fight? You see, this is our time to make it right. And I'm pressing this because I want us to understand this. Tomorrow is not promised to us. If tomorrow you got the message that you had 24 hours to live, wouldn't it be true that you would make sure your life before God is taken care of? Wouldn't you confess all your sins? Wouldn't you do one big bang for God before your time is over? Why would it have to take that long? When he was willing to change our destiny for good by sending his son on the cross to die for us. Why can't we give to him the same kind of love and devotion he's given us? This message is huge because it's speaking to the church. We need to step it up. We need to let the Lord know that he means everything to us. So much so that I would rather be in church than sit down and watch TV. I would rather pray than listen to gossip. I would rather ask God what he wants for me than make my own plans. I would rather give to God a little of what I have, because that's what I have, than give him nothing until I get rich. Does that make sense? It's all about worship. That's what this whole thing comes down to. Do we have a relationship with Jesus in such a way that everything we do results in worship of who he is to us? If not, then we're going to have to decide what type of believer we're going to be. Now, the reason I shared with you the 4 different types of believer, because we're saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. But we will be rewarded for our deeds that we've done. So, I don't know what Mrs. Excuse will receive, but definitely that person is cheating himself of everything. I want to close with this. Okay, and it's really really crazy because I love the way it ends. Let's see if I can find it. I told myself to come back to it. So remember the parable about the talents and the good servants. Listen to this, okay? So the master was really blessed with the 2. And each time he said this, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with the little things. I will make you rulers over big things." Right? Oh, you should be going off your tongues if you get that. You'd be rolling on the ground if you were like that. I mean, this is crazy. Screaming hallelujah. He says, "You have been faithful with the little things, so now I have big things in store for you." Many things, right? Enter into the joy of the Lord. How's that? Man, that's so cool. Amen? So tonight, gang, the question is, what kind of believer am I? And do I need work? And if I do, I need to take care of it now. This is the time for me to make sure that I am right before God. Not saved, because saved, we can receive that to Jesus Christ. But we all have personalities, flaws that needs to be fixed. Right? And let's address them. Why shortchange yourself of all that God has? Right? You've been faithful with the little things. I want to give you a whole bunch more. I don't know about you, but the whole bunch more, oh, that sounds exciting to me. I want the whole bunch more. Let's pray.